Good day folks, and welcome to another digital painting session. Today we're going to look at painting metal and armor. I've had a few people ask me how they can achieve a more realistic feel to their armor, and so I'm going to share some of my thoughts with you on this subject matter. I'm just painting on a normal 8x11 canvas and making sure I have some good photo reference, which is always key. And this is really a photo study. And right now I'm just laying in some base colors. I'm not color picking from the photo. I'm treating this as a study, and so I am trying to find the colors myself. I'm doing a bit of a sketch drawing just to lay in some of the major areas. Spending a lot of time looking at the subject matter and trying to get the colors right, kind of get the values right. As you can see, I'm kind of moving around all over the piece, trying to not get bogged down in one area, and trying to keep the momentum going. If I see an area that grabs my attention, I try and find the color, put the color in, and play with it for a while, and then move on to another area. The reason for this is that it gives me a chance to judge that area and come back to it later. I'll put some marks down, put some colors down, put some values down, move on to an adjoining area somewhere else in the piece, and after a while I'll go back to where I had originally worked, and I'll have a better understanding on whether or not what I put down was correct or if it needs to be adjusted. And then I make the adjustments and I move on to the next area. Today there are actually two small clips. The first one I'm gonna comment over and add some input, but the second one I'll just let it play. And these videos are all sped up. This is about 700%, and I think the next one's almost at 1500%. But they both took about an hour and a half. I think I've said this before, but speed's not really an issue. Rather take your time, get it right. Focus on making it as accurate as possible, and keep practicing that, and in time your speed will increase. This is not really about painting fast, this is about painting accurately. So I'm starting to get into some of the metal areas now, and painting metal accurately is really about how it reacts to the light. And there are a couple of things you can do to make sure that you get a more realistic feel to your metal. One of the things is pay very good attention to your values. Metal tends to have more extreme value range, so your darks are going to be darker and your lights are going to be lighter, and they tend to be closer together. So your dark areas and your light areas are going to be pretty sharp, the transition between them. There's not going to be too much of a gradient. You want to keep those values pretty clean, and make sure that the transition between them is quite sharp. Your highlights want to be pretty tight and hot, and your darks, your blacks, can be pretty dark too, pretty saturated and dark. It works quite well if you complement this with some softer values and softer transitions, gradients in the adjoining areas, because that will give a lot of contrast to your metal. This works well when you have cloth and leather on top or next to your armor. I'm painting pretty zoomed out. I'm not too worried about details. I'm just trying to paint what I see. So I've flipped the canvas a few times, and that's really just to help me get my drawing accurate. Both these paintings today, they aren't perfectly accurate as far as proportions and that goes, but I'm more concerned with getting the feel of the metal down today. And it really comes down to how much time you want to spend on a piece. Getting your proportions perfect can take quite a while, especially when it comes to faces and trying to get the expressions accurate. I can spend a lot of time doing that, but today this is actually quite fun, because I'm just looking for values in local color and just trying to copy that. I'm not too concerned with the drawing. I haven't really been painting texture into the metal yet. I usually leave that to last. Right now I'm just trying to get the form correct, painting the shadows, painting the light, getting the color. Once you have your value system down, you need to start looking at the colors in the piece. What is the metal picking up? What's it reflecting? What has been bounced onto the metal from other areas? If you look on his arm, there's some green coming up from the grass, and there's some blue in there too. And so it really just takes careful observation, and that's where you're going to get that realistic feel to your metal coming in. For the chainmail, I'm just starting to put the chainmail in. What I had done was try to paint in the actual form first, and then lay in the chainmail with a texture brush over that. And I use a few layers of the chainmail brush. I lay down a light layer and a dark layer and a light layer, and this just gives it a little bit more form, volume, and character. Adding a few highlights to the chainmail there. You notice in the helmet there's quite a bit of blue, so I'm picking up the reflection of the sky, and there's some warmer tones on the side, and that's picking up the reflection of the trees and the grass. There's some darker values at the back, the shadow. And that's it. I added in some textures, and for the next piece I'm actually just going to be quiet and you guys can just watch. Thank you very much. Okay folks, the second piece is coming to an end now. I'm just putting in some final textures, adding a bit more character to the piece, some scratches, dents in the armor, and then a couple of texture brushes over it, just to get the feel of a more traditional painting. Playing around with pushing some of the clouds. And there you go. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to subscribe, leave a comment. All the support is much appreciated. Thanks guys.